Killzone HD. Has Sony updated it enough to make it worth another playthrough, or is it just ancient dust waiting to die? Find out in this review. The graphics and art style of Killzone HD look pretty good for being from 2004, 2005, something around that time. And back in the PS2 days, it looked gorgeous and everything was really nice looking. But now it's a little dated, but apparently there were technical issues and stuff that they got rid of in the old Killzone PS2 version, updated to this HD version. Like, I didn't fall into any glitches, I didn't have any technical errors, and that was one of the problems that they had back when Killzone first came out. It didn't run very well, and it had, once you started the game, textures were popping in and out and were a constant plague on this game, but they fixed it. At least somebody at Guerrilla decided to change their visuals, like update all these little glitches and stuff, and actually have a nice HD remake of the game. And one more thing I do want to point out is that this game competes with some of the games nowadays, like Front Mission Evolved, Ghost Recon. This game actually has the visuals and stuff just look just as nice as some of these games that are out now, but it's still just a PS2 remake. One last thing I want to say is the guns in the game, they look like they were truly updated, because I don't know, it looked like from this gen, the guns especially. I liked it a lot, how they looked.
Away, go.
For the gameplay of this game, it's really fun. You don't really have any problems, except for the one thing that I really hate about Killzone 1, and I think it's in Killzone 2. I haven't played Killzone 2 for a while. You can't just hold in the zoom button and then if you let go, it'll zoom out. In this game, you have to press it and then it'll stay zoomed in, and then you have to unpress it to do it. And also the combination of what the buttons are is not typical to today's first-person shooter. So you can easily map the controller to whatever buttons you want. Like if you want, I had to do a couple different ones. I had to do it with the crouching, but when you crouch, you have to stay crouched. Like you have to hold in the crouch button, and you have to press that one button, and then you have to shoot. It kind of gets a little weird at sometimes when you're doing that, and sometimes can cause death, which happened a couple times in the game for me. Now, other than that, there's pretty much 4 different characters. They each play a little differently. You get a couple different weapons added to each of their loadouts, and I thought the game was really spot on for a first-person shooter. The enemies can seem dumb at sometimes, like really stupid. I don't know, they're really retarded. It's okay for me because I didn't really care. Like, if the enemies are really that dumb, the support of your squad is actually pretty decent, because they actually can kill people for you, even on hard mode. It's not, oh, I'm not gonna shoot at the person for you, like some games. Like Resident Evil 4, you had to carry the girl throughout the whole game pretty much. She didn't really do anything. Resident Evil 5, Sheva really just got in the way when she was not controlled by a co-op player. In Spec Ops: The Line, you always had to go and save the computer players, but they couldn't save you. If you died, you died. If they died, they just got shot and you lose. But if they got shot, you could heal them, but they can't heal you. This game's not like that. If you die, you die, but at least your surrounding characters help you shoot the other team, like the enemies. It's really ridiculous how some of today's games aren't even that good with the AI on your team. And then after you're done playing the game, there are a couple offline co-op modes, and they're They're alright, they're pretty fun, but I suggest playing the story mode. That's where you get your most fun out of the gameplay. If you want to play with an extra buddy offline, then that's perfect for you. For the plot or story of Killzone, there's a little historical background that is actually more interesting, but the story doesn't really present it really well in the game. In Killzone 3 and 2, you really, oh man, those stories are so good, but this one's a little more vague and not as good as those ones were. So for the story, basically it's your typical, oh, we gotta try to stop the bad guys. That's pretty much how the story is. I can't really spoil anything, but that's pretty much all it is. It's just, you have to stop the bad guys, and it doesn't really go anywhere other than that too much. I enjoyed the characters, the contrast of them. You got the typical generic good guy Templar, then you have the assassin Luger, and then you have the badass Rico, and then finally you have a half Helghast, half human Haka. I think I'm saying that right, Haka. But yeah, that's your cast. You can play once you get up to a certain point. I think it's chapter 4. You can play as the next character that comes into the party. You can change characters in every mission except the first 3. You're playing as Templar, and then the story mode itself will take about 10 hours if you're really good. I played it on hard mode. I probably beat it in less than 10 hours. I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure it was not over 10 hours, but if you're not a big first-person shooter fan, or you're not as good as some people, you'll probably have around 5 to 10 hours of a story mode, probably more than 5. It's actually a long story, but it's pretty easy to get through. So the pros in this game were a great surrounding cast, great gameplay, good job on the visuals of a HD upgrade. The cons would be dumb enemies and having a kind of bland, predictable story. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. For more Killzone content, come to my channel, youtube.com/redplaystationfilmer, and see you guys.
Make sure he's okay.
Oh, God.
What is it?
Motherfucking filthy little piece of shit!
He's a Helghast.
Was a Hellcast.
Hold it!
Pinchy Hoto.
Rico, door cover!
Fuck you.
Rico!